All right, and we are live. What's up, everybody? Mike Sims here from Let's Be Blunt. Got a special collaboration today with Christopher Baer.
Hey, what's up,
Uh,
man?
what's happening, man? He's a fellow YouTuber, way more advanced in the game. He reached out to us on some content we did recently and said, let's do a collab, and here we are, man. But thanks for having me, and thanks for taking the time to do this.
No problem, man. And Mike, I'll just say you're next up, so don't worry. Your channel's about to blow up too, man. Because I got all my
I,
content. People are gonna blow you up, so don't worry.
I
But
appreciate it, man. I want to do it for both of us, man. We need to get our voice out there to be heard.
exactly, man. And I just want to say one thing before we get started. For
Yep.
anyone watching this video, I have one big, fat, dirty agenda for this video. It's so disgusting. You're gonna be so angry. But you know what? The whole point of this video is so we can donate your money to the American Healthy Association so we can lobby the government to keep hemp derived THC legal and stop the dirty corporate greedy people from monopolizing the weed industry and putting you in jail for selling weed because you can't afford a $1 million weed license. So that's pretty much the whole premise. I saw
Preach.
Mike, I saw his videos. I'm like, bro, this guy knows what's up. Like Mike had his store raided by the cops. Me, I'm in Illinois. The weed license costs $1 million. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this? This is a scam, bro. And meanwhile, people are in the hood getting locked up for selling weed because they don't have $1 million. But why can't they get in the weed game? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why can't us
Talk
regular
about
middle class, lower middle class, even in general, anyone who's not rich get in on this? And now we are able to get on this with hemp. And boom, now they're trying to shut us down, arrest us, try to reinterpret the law the wrong way or something. You know
it.
what?
Oh yeah.
If you are for the people, hemp is where it's at. It's real weed. We are selling real THC now, but it's federally legal. So that's what we're talking about today. So
I
I'm
love
really
it, man.
passionate about it.
Hey, I love it. Bring that passion. I am too. And yeah, you are exactly correct, man. It's touched on a point. A little background on me. First and foremost, I'm an advocate for cannabis and hemp. Period. I'm just so happen to be lucky enough to have a cannabis in business right now, but it's in jeopardy. It's in peril, and it has been since the day we started it. You know,
Always banning this, that, the other.
oh, it's constant fight, man. There's no peace in the game. But I have 4 stores here, North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm also about to open a cannabis theme resort in Virginia.
Really?
Uh, yeah, man,
Cannabis theme resort. That's
it's
crazy. So what does a
it's going,
cannabis theme resort even look like?
man. It's
What
going to
if I
be
was a
like
customer, what would I do there?
everything you would do at a normal resort, but with a lot of cannabis. you know, we want a safe space. I think adults, especially, especially our generation and younger, are looking for alternative places to socialize and hang out that's not alcohol based, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't
So,
drink.
yeah, I don't, I rarely do, and that's so rare now. I might as well say I don't, but it's all about cannabis, man. But it's just a safe space. Everybody hang out. Tiny homes, tree houses, big stage for performances, good food, nice relaxation. But we haven't even fully announced it to the public, so we're doing a little sneak peek right now,
A
letting
little
them know.
teaser,
But
man.
yeah, but I got 4 hemp stores, and it's crazy how many people don't realize cannabis is hemp, cannabis is marijuana, as they call it. Cannabis is recreational, cannabis is medical. And everybody thinks this is a different plant or a different way of growing it or a different strain. And it sounds crazy. That's 101. But it's all the same plant. And it all comes down to levels and politics, right? So that's what we're going through in South Carolina. And as you touched on, man, we have all hemp derived products, meaning they're less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC by dry weight volume. And a lot of us in the industry now have THCA flower, which is,
Yep. Yes, sir.
it's non-active Delta 9 THC. I tell people it's legal until you light it. So in
I
South
love that.
Carolina, yeah. So in South Carolina, they, SLED, law enforcement, local law enforcement are under the impression that no hemp flower is legal. However, they have not made a law that says this. It's just the Attorney General of South Carolina wrote an
They're
opinion
interpreting
letter,
it like that.
interpreting it like that, and they wrote an opinion letter in 21 that states Delta 8, any other cannabinoid derivatives, um, that aren't naturally found, which Delta 8 is. And they said
Right.
raw, unprocessed flower. So we ask ourselves, what is raw and unprocessed, right? How the hell do you get it off the plant, dried, trimmed, and into a bag or into another product without a process? So, with that being said, they raided my store, and I say they, it's SLED, Columbia Police Department, Columbia Sheriff's Department, raided my store, put three of my employees in handcuffs, and charged one of my employees with conspiracy to sell marijuana, which I don't even have to tell you guys. That's a huge charge and completely uncalled for selling something that is federally legal. And they immediately called it marijuana prior to even testing it. They leaked it to
Of
the
course they did.
news, calling it marijuana, and they blasted my employee and my company name all over. So, and it's funny, the same news station that blasted us posted one today about how excited they are about medical marijuana getting passed in South
Oh
Carolina.
yeah, woohoo!
Isn't
Fucking
that exciting?
medical.
Fucking medical. So, and that's the whole madness. You and I know, we have knowledge. Medical
Hmm.
is just another term for control.
Yeah,
So
it's funny that you say that. It's like I actually have a really controversial view on medical marijuana because, okay, first off, I just want to say that I do think weed is very medicinal and how it has properties for people in pain, et cetera, right? But
right,
it's also very recreational. There's a higher percentage of individuals use cannabis for
right,
recreation, like myself,
right,
like you, like
right.
millions and millions of other Americans and people in other countries. But wait a second. Now we only have medical weed in the state where you need a doctor's license and blah, blah, blah. And for example, in Illinois, to avoid the excessive taxes, you can get a medical license and avoid the taxes, right? So it's like, oh, that's a nice little benefit. But for other states, like, why can't we just all just buy the weed? Like, why? Like, take a tomato for example. If I'm growing a
Right,
tomato in my backyard, why
right,
can't I just sell the tomatoes to my friend? Why do I
right.
need $1 million license? Why do I need a prescription card? Like, there's no difference between medicinal weed and weed. It's just weed. So
It's how it's
why can't we
taxed, how
all
it's
enjoy
regulated.
it?
Right. And that's what pisses me off because allegedly this was all about safety, right? Because it's so dangerous and it's a gateway drug. And all the
What are we in the
propaganda we've
fucking
heard for
80s
the
right
last,
now?
right, the things we've heard for the last 100 years. So now, now it comes down to what we always knew it was about. It's about money, it's about control, it's about politics.
Right.
Meanwhile, it's like, we're still making movement towards legalization, but I'm a prime example. I just had to shut down my number one store for 9 days, and the
Mm.
losses are just mounting. And not only that, my employees are so traumatized they won't even come back to work. So it's and then they're talking about medical. And I even read, like I think you probably heard this week, that they're now talking about rescheduling cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Schedule 1 meaning it has no medical benefit. Schedule 3 means it's completely controlled by pharmacies, pharmaceutical. You need a doctor prescription for it. So everybody's like, well, it's rescheduled. No, it's not getting descheduled, it's getting rescheduled. Rescheduled just means now the government's going to have more control over it. They're going to give it cool names like medical and everything else, but it's the same exact plant, just taxed and controlled at a different rate.
Yeah,
And
no,
they've
all
usually
this
make them
medical
larger.
stuff, it's
And
homey,
right,
baloney, stupid crap. I want to grow my weed in my backyard like a fucking tomato. That's it. I
right,
want to grow my weed in the backyard like a fucking
right,
tomato and sell it to my buddy for 20 bucks a sack. Fuck
right.
all this license shit. It's fucking stupid. But sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're great, and that's exactly to my point. This is, if I want to give you a tomato, sell you a tomato, whatever, who gives a shit? No one has died. Zero people have
Yep.
died from this plant, the use of it.
Zero
The
people.
most dangerous thing about it is being caught in possession with it.
Yeah,
So,
and then going to prison and getting fucked up in prison.
you
That's
know what
that's
I
the
mean?
danger.
Right. And then we're supposedly Biden gave all these pardons or whatever, but number one, he hasn't done it yet. Number two, they talked about pardoning anybody that has simple possession on a federal level. And I looked it up, and I think that was 1,200 people that it would actually
Hmm.
affect. But
Hmm.
it's all incremental change. It's convoluted. It's all confusing on purpose. So we don't know what the hell everybody's talking about. But I'm in North Carolina. It's pretty fucked up. You're in Illinois. Talk a little bit about what the market looks like there. You guys still doing medical and rec or what?
Yeah, so we got a rec program. Medical was actually here before the rec. And it was, I remember looking up the requirements for the actual rec, or not the rec, the medical license in Illinois when it first came out. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a way to sell weed now. Let's go. And it's like, oh, you need like $1 million in liquid assets, AKA cash or something immediately
Right,
sellable to be able to qualify for this license. Like, who the fuck has
right,
that, dude?
right,
Who the
right,
fuck has $1 million in liquid assets? I don't. Like,
right,
okay, rec came around. Oh, okay, it's rec. It's cool. It's all good now, bro. Oh
right,
no, okay. It's you still all these crazy requirements. You got to pay $5,000,
right,
non-refundable license. Then you got to get into the lottery system. Oh, hope I win the lottery. It's up to chance. I wonder who controls the lottery. Oh,
right,
wait, since the people were disenfranchised and hurt in the low income areas because of weed arrests and stuff and targeting of minorities, okay, we have a social equity program. But okay, let's dive into that. What does the
right.
social equity program look like? Oh, well, they can actually give you the loans with tons of interest to be able to try to get the
Yeah,
license and get your business running. So it's like they're not actually doing anything social equity. They're just simply giving you a loan and then they steal all your profit in the form of interest. And you're just doing all this work of running the business for free. And
right,
Tom Howard talks a lot about this. He's a cannabis lawyer. He has a podcast as well talking about all these different how the social equity isn't like really that good of a social equity. It's just a front to make people not think about the details of the situation. Think, oh, this is kind of fucked up.
right.
Oh, this is kind of a fucking scam. And then, so you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna run my
Right.
loud ass fucking mouth and fucking talk about this shit. So I'm gonna make a bunch of
And
fucking
that's what
YouTube shorts,
that's
clip
what we
this shit
gotta
up,
do,
and
man.
then run it up.
That's what we gotta do, man, because the masses don't know. Most people even that are around me a lot and speak to me a lot around this business, all of them are like, "Well, they've legalized, right? Or they're about to legalize," and they don't realize how fucked it is at this point. But in North Carolina, they're trying to adopt a medical program this year where we are. Tell you how
Hmm.
fucked this is. They're only allowing 4 growers in the whole state. And
Oh
those
yeah.
4 growers, yeah, those, and then from those 4 growers, they're allowing 10 dispensaries per grow. So you're talking about 40 total outlets to retail or to sell these products in North Carolina. We have over 100 counties. Who knows how many million people live here now? But that's their whole problem on this. And then they're ultimately trying to treat it like the rec program because they're trying to tax the shit out of it.
Hmm.
You know, they're which is just going to drive up the price of it. It's not going to be available through your insurance company, so you're not going to get any kind of reprieve on the price with through your insurance license, so
Hmm.
or card. So, and then you talk about it, you're ultimately trying to take as much revenue as you can out of a medical program, so it's hurting the people that need it the most, the ones that can't afford it. So now all you're going to do is just make it a larger penalty for possession because it's now going to be medical. You're going to continue to hurt the minority groups and people
Community. Yep.
community that one in it's what is it, 3 and every 4 people who are arrested are minorities is the statistic now. So it's a mess. And then you think about what that medical program looks like. It's basically designed to fail. It's only letting a few people into it. And then ultimately it's not doing its purpose. They call it even funnier. They're calling it the Compassionate Care Act. There's
Whoa,
nothing.
yeah, see,
Yeah,
there's the framing. There's
right.
the, oh, we
Oh,
are compassionate. Look the other way. Don't think about the details.
not to mention you got to be pretty much fucking dead to get approved for it. End of life, third stage of cancer. I was even reading one lady, another state, one of the documentaries. They literally
Hmm.
told her she wasn't advanced enough in her cancer to be considered for medical. So
Dude,
literally,
what the
like,
fuck?
you need to be a little more dead. You need a little bit more dead before we can give you that license there, that medical. And then once you get that, it is now it's on your record. So now you're marked for mental health. Ultimately, you can't own a firearm, and you're marked with a scarlet letter. So it used to be we all fought together towards legalization. Everybody were hemp and cannabis advocates. Now we
Hmm.
have hemp fighting recreational, fighting medical. It's like this
Hmm.
huge fight, and now we've all turned on each other because everybody's jostling for position or trying to get their own agenda out
Monopolize the
there.
market. Get their own. Get mine. Get mine. Keep the other
Right,
guy out. Win lose
right,
situation. Fucking
right,
win lose situation. That's like the whole
right,
fucking prerogative of the devil, dude. Like
right,
straight up. I'm not trying to make this like spiritual or religious or anything, but like
right,
when you have a win lose situation, it's like the world is degrading. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like when you tell me, Mike, that only 4 companies can grow weed in the state of North Carolina, I'm like, that is like the epitome of the fucking devil, because it's like that everybody loses because, for one, consumers get worse product. There's no competition. It's the most anti-American thing I've ever heard. America is
Right.
literally founded on competition and free market. Okay, so what
Right.
happens when the weed is
It's a
shit?
monopoly.
They don't give you your fucking weed until you're dying enough from cancer. Oh, you don't have enough cancer yet, so we can't give you your fucking weed. It's like, what
Right.
kind of fucking world are we living in? Like, this is like
A very
blowing my
close,
mind at this point.
a very greedy one. Yeah. And honestly, it's like the masses just don't know, and I don't blame them. Most people, I mean, even people that are
Compassionate
weed,
program, man.
right? Even people that are weed or cannabis advocates, they don't give a shit as long as their plug has some bud for them to smoke. They're like, I'm getting mine, I'm good. But people don't
Yep.
realize, what's going on out here in the trenches to fight for this. And man, I completely agree with you and your vibe. It's just bullshit. And it 100%. When you got a win lose situation, especially when you're talking about health, especially when you say the government knows that the government has the patent on treating cancer with cannabis. The government owns the patent on that. So
Do
how
they
does it
really?
have? Yeah. Oh, look it up. It's crazy. I can even. But it's like
Hmm.
it's on Google. But yeah, they own the patent on it, and that's what's even crazier. There's 3 named drugs, FDA approved pharmaceutical drugs now on the market,
Hmm.
directly derived from cannabis. It started with Epidiolex, and now there's 2 others similar for
Yeah.
I believe it's just for seizures or whatever. So
Right.
something that
Right.
has zero medical value is just as dangerous as heroin and cocaine. And there's 3 FDA approved drugs right now made directly from cannabis. So even if you aren't an advocate, you got to understand the scheduling is completely fucked. And then when you look at, there's now 43 states that have moved to legalize or decriminalize in some shape or form or fashion. So obviously the majority of the United States wants this. So what the fuck are we doing? And you got to, and we all know it's greed and all this, but it's as ugliest as it's ever been, and I've ever known it to be. And the deeper and the more political you get into it, you realize they're completely ignorant. The people making these laws have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know. We could be describing spaceships and unicorns as far as they know, and all they have is the lobbyist, all opposing lobbyists. And here in North Carolina, I don't know about Illinois. Our largest lobbyist group in North Carolina is law enforcement. And of course, to that, we
Really?
have big pharma and tobacco. Absolutely. Law enforcement, North Carolina. And I've been up there. Law enforcement is supposed to enforce laws, but they have
Hmm.
moved over to influencing laws and lawmakers. And they show up in uniform, at these, and Raleigh is our capital here in North Carolina,
Really?
show up in uniform, trying to intimidate, you know, uh, same rhetoric about every violent crime they go on, cannabis is there or involved. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm sure tennis shoes were, and T-shirts and cigarettes and prescription drugs. Like, of course, like everybody smokes. So yeah, cannabis is there. But also, if you want to take the violent crime out of cannabis, legalize it. How many violent crimes are happening at regular retail stores? People just buying their shit. You know what I mean? Like, the reason there's violent crimes because it's in the street, it's lucrative, and you're fighting for position illegally. Somebody robs you, you can't call the cops. Somebody took my weed, you can't say that. So you got to act out on your own. That's where the violence comes from. So it's
No,
a mess.
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Think about it. If someone is selling speed, coke, heroin, dope, you I can almost guarantee you they've sold weed in the past as well. But if you have someone that only sells weed,
Right?
are they also a fucking dope dealer of heroin and speed and crack and all that shit? Like the
No.
logic, like causation does not equal correlation. Or I fucking flipped it, but you get my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, my whole thing is if it doesn't grow, I don't fuck with it. So if it doesn't naturally grow in the ground, I don't mess with it. But that's, of course, we all had to go through the black market growing up to get
Right, right.
our fix, but it was rare that your weed dealer sold anything but weed, and
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah, yeah. At least for me.
yeah, at least for me too. So, but I feel like in so many ways we've come a long way. But honestly, this year alone, I feel like we're directly heading in reverse. Like I
Oh
was
yeah.
just reading last week, the Ninth District Court in California 2 weeks ago now
Hmm.
ruled that everybody legally in the cannabis business, even if you're in a legalized state, you still are subject to the RICO Act of 1970, and that was just 2 weeks ago.
What's the RICO
So
Act?
just what is it? Racketeering and organized crime. I forget. It's an
Oh my
acronym.
God. So they'll grab you
Yeah,
for anything if they don't like you.
right. And then they can get you in conspiracy and basically prove the conglomerate. I mean, obviously, if you're talking about a corporation in cannabis, that's not hard to prove, and it carries, minimum sentencing. I think it starts at 10 to 15 years. So it's
Interesting.
it- yeah, and of course, there's no movement federally to fix this to end prohibition. There's
Hmm.
just since January 1, there's been almost 1,700 bills on the federal level introduced on legalization since January 1 from that statistic. So, and they all have their own agenda and everything. Right now, the one I
Right.
prefer, like the most, is the MORE Act. It's a
Mm.
marijuana something expungement act. It's a bipartisan bill. Not only is it in federal prohibition, it offers grants and reparations to anybody
Hmm.
arrested for nonviolent cannabis offenses. So the answer is just like you and I know. Legalize the shit. Treat it
Right.
like coffee, beans, rice, sugar, whatever other commodities out there. Make sure it's
Yep.
grown safely. Make sure there's no herbicides, pesticides, anything in it's going to harm you, and sell the shit out of it. And if you want to grow your own, great. If you want to go to Target or Walmart, buy it. Awesome. Or if
Right.
but it's and the other problem I'm seeing in the cannabis industry, and I want to know if you're seeing the same thing in legalized area in Chicago and Illinois, is the legal market is dying. It cannot keep up. California is about to collapse on itself for the cannabis market.
Really? How's it collapsing?
Overtaxation, overtaxed, overregulated, and they can't keep up with the black market. They're taking down black market grows left and right. All your large cannabis operations, Curaleaf, um, Cheech and Chong, whatever his brand is. There's
Hmm.
several large. I think even Jungle Boys. A lot of them are pulling out of California and Oregon because they have oversaturation of the market. It's overregulated. So to get their product to the market, they have to spend so much money and go through so many hoops, and the black market's just thriving. And you can't compete. Like, why are people going to go buy a $65, $70 eighth when they can go to their boy down the street and get it for $35?
And it's better shit.
And it's better shit, and it's
Yeah.
hand grown, and it's not mass
Yeah.
produced, and it's got it's not chemicals all in it and
Yeah.
everything. So
Right. Yeah, because when we're talking about weed, the fucking black market is operating on the free market of, oh, who's got the best shit? Which
right,
plug has the best weed? Who's got
right,
that za? In the
right,
big fucking corporations that sell weed, they're like, oh, I've got this huge factory grow. How do we
right,
scale this? How do we be
right,
vertically integrated? How do we
right,
cultivate our image to support our brand? It's like they're not thinking about product first. They're thinking about revenue,
right,
profit, fucking overhead. How do I appease these fucking government people so I can pay them enough money to keep my position in the market? How do I stop these Delta 8 people from coming in the market and stealing my customers? How do I stop
right,
these hemp companies selling THCA flower, which is the same goddamn flower that I'm selling, but they don't need a license? So they're like,
right.
they got all these other things going on where the black market plug guy, he's like, oh yeah, I just want to grow the best weed and fucking sell it cheaper than everyone
That's it.
else.
Right, no, right. And there's no tax on it and everything. And I mean, it's simple. If you it's use alcohol prohibition as your model. All your gangsters, Al Capone, and all the bootleggers and rum runners and everybody that was, thriving during the prohibition. The way they took them out of business was complete ending of prohibition and legalizing it. Nobody, and they lost their power and money overnight. The
Hmm.
crime went almost non-existent. So it's like, we know the answer. They know the answer. I used to think, let's educate them. And then I would get up to these places in Raleigh and places I'd have to go speak to politicians.
Right.
And I started talking to them, and I realized I might as well be talking to the wall on deaf
Yeah, they don't
ears.
give a shit. They
They
don't
don't
give a
give a
shit.
shit. Who's paying me?
No.
And
Yeah,
Tom
so
Tillis, Tom Tillis here in North Carolina, one of our senators, has taken more money from Big Pharma than any other senator in history.
yeah, and it's
So
weird because when you tell me that the law enforcement is actually donating money to the politicians to keep weed illegal in North Carolina, I'm like, what would be their motivation? Like, why do they care? Like, who's
search
donating
and
money to
seizure.
the what is that? Search and seizure?
Search. It's $1 trillion a year business, man. Search and seizure. In North
Mm,
Carolina, I don't know about South or in Chicago or Illinois. Um, in North Carolina, the law is they can search or seize your property and take your property indefinitely, even if you never, if you haven't, even if they don't charge you with anything, even if you're not convicted, even if there's not any charge. If they think a crime is being committed, they can seize your property. They then take it and auction it off, and that's what I tell people. Cops are business. Law enforcement is a business. It costs money to run that. And, and the only place that produces money is seizing property through illegal drug activity. So,
Maybe the police department in North Carolina needs to be investigated for the RICO Act, man. Doing this search and seizure scam to collect the revenue so they can donate it to the politicians to keep weed illegal. What is that, bro?
It is. It's a fucking mess, and that's the best way I can describe it. And and it's like the more you know, the less you know, and that's kind of how I felt going up there. And I used to think there was a such thing as Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. It's all the same, dude. They will yell and scream at each other in that room, and then go behind closed doors. And you know how many of them I
Who's
had?
got my check?
Yeah, and Mr. Sims, you know how many times they told me, Republican and Democrat, I completely agree with everything you're saying. However, my party says I have to vote this way, and I can't vote outside of my party, or I won't get reelected, or I won't have support to get this bill passed or that bill passed. So it's conflict of interest. It's absolutely a RICO. It's a conglomerate. It's a gang. And who
corporate
loses?
cartel.
Us. Corporate cartel, exactly. And the only people that lose is people that need the cannabis the worst. And and that's what I hate here too. Well, you just want to get high and whatever. Yes, I do want to get high, but there's also great
getting high
benefits.
Is not good enough because there's rights involved. If I get high and you take away my firearm license, that's not good enough for me. I need to be able to do what the fuck I want. I need to grow fucking weed in my backyard like a goddamn tomato and do whatever I want with it. Sell it to whoever, smoke it wherever I want. I don't need all these restrictions, all these conditions. Why do I need to be controlled? What are we in China? I mean, shit. I mean, China's doing pretty good economically and stuff, but we have different values and shit. That's why I say that.
Yeah, we actually, funny you say that. We had, I don't know if you've been watching the news. We had the Chinese weather balloon fly over our state and our today. Yeah, they shot it down with missiles over South Carolina today, but it was a Chinese weather balloon, a spy balloon, depending on what they're calling it. But yeah, I agree with you. They call us the land of the free, but it's all an illusion, truly an illusion. They're not even getting into conspiracy or whatever. We're not free. Everything requires a permit. Everything is regulated. Yeah, and every news outlet or whatever, except for YouTube for now, is censored. For my business in the cannabis business, we still can't use Facebook. I've been dinged so many times on Facebook. I pretty much don't have one anymore. Google will not let us advertise. There's no outlets to properly advertise, and we get dinged and blocked for everything we do in this industry. It's yet we're still surviving somehow. We've gone through now a pandemic. We've gone through 3 or 4 legislation challenges in North Carolina. They tried to take away smokable hemp flower. We also had an expiration of our pilot program where we almost lost the program. And, now they're coming for all the other cannabinoid, our other Delta 8, Delta 10, everything. So
people just need to wake up, man. You know what I'm saying? What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I'd like to know that everybody has a why. What is your why in this business? How did you get here? Did it find you like it did me?
Well, here's how it all started. I first started smoking weed when I was fucking 15. I wish it would have started later. But whatever. Yeah, whatever. We all started young. It's fucking illegal. If it was legal, we probably wouldn't have started that young. You know what I'm saying? So that's the downsides of it being illegal, but whatever. So I started smoking when I was 15 and I just loved the damn thing. I felt amazing. Music sounded amazing. I was like in a metal and a punk band. I'm like, oh, I'm getting all these creative ideas for my music and shit. So it's just like, I'm just like a fucking creative, like person. I love weed. You know what I'm saying? I smoked it like for, I don't even know how long, like fucking 11 years now. And why would you not sell something you love? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you not sell something you understand and love? Like, if you are like a fucking carpenter, and you love fucking making wood shit, why would you not do that as a profession? That's just one example. If you love playing guitar, why would you not try to be a musician? That's actually a really hard fucking career, which I failed at. But point is, it's just like, why would I not sell weed And then when I
Right.
discover the avenues to sell weed and I discover how fucking difficult it is, I'm just like, well, goddamn, what are the energies and the sources behind this preventing me from selling weed? What is their intention? What, and
Right.
is it even fucking good intention? And I always discover it's actually really bad intention.
Oh
So,
yeah.
you know, if anyone is a weed smoker right now, you need to wake the fuck up right now, because just being able to smoke weed legally, that's not fucking good enough, dude. We need to be
Right.
able to grow the shit and not have all these restrictions. Because let me tell you something. In Illinois, it's $1 million for a weed license, give or take with all the restrictions. I'm generalizing it, but it's about $1 million for a weed license. Now, how much is a liquor license?
Right.
$750. Now,
Right.
tell me right now, how many fucking people has alcohol killed, and how many people has fucking weed killed? Let's do a fucking ratio. I don't know what it is, but pop up the ratio on the screen when this is edited, and I
Yeah.
can
Right.
tell you your mind is going to be blown. So that being said,
I
you
literally
need to
can't
wake the
find it.
fuck up. Yeah, wake the fuck up. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's an organization called the American Healthy Alternatives Association, and they're all about lobbying the government to make weed legal for all in the most purest form for everybody. Okay. And the JD, the owner, he's a cool ass guy. So
Eddie Moore.
click the
Right.
link down below right now and
Yep.
donate to the American Healthy Association. Obviously, we're live right now. So anyone live watching this, I don't think the link is there. And Mike, I'm sorry. I don't think
That's right.
anyone on your stream is doing that, but this is just for my viewers, because that is the whole agenda, to keep weed
Yeah.
legal for everyone in its purest form. So we're not jumping through hoops and doing
Right.
this bullshit. So yeah,
Yeah. It's funny.
that's my why.
I love it. For me, cannabis is my religion. My father drank himself to death when I was 4 months old from PTSD, before we knew what PTSD was from Vietnam.
Wow.
So my
Wow.
mom was terrified of me becoming an alcoholic. So she always was real with me. This drug does this. This drug does that. Alcohol does this. And honestly, what really sparked my interest was the Dare program here, and they
Mm.
lit cannabis in the classroom, and I immediately was like pissed. I was like, "Oh, I know that smell. That's mom's
Really?
smell."
They
I mean,
they
yeah,
freaking lit the weed in the
lit it up,
classroom?
bro.
What?
Wave it around, and like, this is what
I
it
have
looks like.
never.
This is what it
So you're
smells like.
telling me Dare, the organization that prevents kids from doing drugs, lit a
Right?
fucking joint in the classroom in front of
Just
kids?
they didn't light the joint up. They just kind of burned some to let it smell. But yeah, even crazier.
Jesus, that's
The
crazy,
same,
dude.
same school, they had a prisoner to come to like a scared straight program, and they had this prisoner come in and lit coffee creamer and showed us how it's explosive. And I, to this day, I never knew like coffee creamer is explosive. You take an open flame and it goes woof, it pops. But yeah, that shit they taught us in school. But so I started. I was mad at my mom because they told me she was gonna go to jail, lose our house, become a drug addict, all this stuff. And I remember going home and she, broke it down to me. She was like, "No, baby, this is safe, whatever." So then
Mm,
I started taking roaches out of her ashtray, and I was like, "Holy
mm,
shit, this is amazing!" But now it
mm,
is truly my life. It's my religion. Like, I worship it and everything else. And the point I'm getting to on this too, I quit smoking cigarettes for 5 years. I got away from prescription drugs about that long as well too. When I
congrats.
went, thanks, man. When I went through all this in these past couple weeks with my South Carolina store, absolutely paranoid to have any kind of cannabis on me, even if it was legal hemp. So I started smoking cigarettes again. I hate it. I'm about to get back off of them. So I was chain smoking
Mm,
cigarettes. I had an old prescription of Xanax, took a couple Xanax because I was so nervous. Like, haven't slept, haven't ate. You got to think. I got one of my employees, her freedom in life is on the line. My entire company is in jeopardy right now because without one of our best store, we could lose all of them. So that's been the last couple of weeks, and then I'm so much more mad about it because I turned to the things that cannabis brought me away from: cigarettes,
mm,
prescription drugs, and like, it's crazy because I got so used to using cannabis, knowing it's legal. Now I'm like terrified again. It's almost like they won again. Now I'm like, I want to
mm-hmm.
light up a hemp joint or whatever. And I used to freely smoke in public. Now I'm like terrified to even smoke in my own house. And I know better, and it's like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
man. Like, but that's what they want us to do. They want us to be scared. They want us to feel oppressed. They want
Mm-hmm.
the power, and what it comes down to is money. They no longer have probable cause to lock up brown people easily, and
Mm-hmm.
use that low hanging fruit to continuously lock up people, get the court fees, the jail fees, lawyer fees, and everything else, and keep that revenue coming in. And they're losing probable cause because how do you know if it's marijuana or hemp that you're smelling, officer? So
Mm-hmm.
they're losing that probable cause. They're losing cases. They're losing revenue. So now they're pushing back harder than ever, especially here in the South. It's a it's we're getting attacked from every angle, truly. And then, we have a federal legislation. We got the 2023 federal farm bill coming up, where they're trying to change the THC content ratio again.
Hmm.
They're talking about moving it to 1%, which sounds amazing. But then they, on the flip
Put a
side of that,
milligram limit on it.
milligram, and they're making it total THC, not Delta 9, if they get their way. So,
Right.
to your point, JD McCormick, the American Healthy Alternatives Association, he is the advocate right now for our industry. And he is fighting in Georgia, he's fighting in Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina. He and I will be out at Champs in Las Vegas next week. It is Thursday through Sunday in Las Vegas. Champs is the biggest cannabis event around. And we're going to be walking around doing nothing but trying to garner support from everyone, not only financially, to get people to join our fight to say their business is being affected because they can't ship to every state or South
Hmm.
Carolina, or their
Hmm.
business in South Carolina or other states have been ruined by this. Last time I went to this event in Las Vegas, they they banned Delta 8 to the point you couldn't even have the words Delta 8 at a cannabis convention.
Yeah, I saw
They were
that.
coming, yeah, they were coming covering the signs up. I was there, and then they brought in cops and dogs and raided the event before it even started to go around and confiscate people's products that were federally legal.
And that's
So
in
this
Vegas, right? Where
in
cannabis
Vegas,
is
yep,
legal.
we're
Yeah,
full marijuana. I hate using that
full
word.
marijuana.
It's just for the sake of people know we're talking about. I say marijuana, but I hate the word. It's racist. It's completely.
Right, right, right.
I tell people all the time, the prohibition of cannabis started with Harry Anslinger. He was the first drug czar in the United States. 1937 Stamp Act. And one of his comments that led to this was when white women smoke marijuana, it makes them want to sleep with black men. You can look this
Right.
up. And this started from there. And then they started saying that, the Mexicans coming up through Arizona were bringing this cannabis or marijuana with them, and they were crazed and coming to rape your wife and, rob your house. It was all based in racism and propaganda. And yeah, here we are, 2023, and we're still fighting the same shit. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's only one real solution that I can see in my mind of how to legalize weed for real, like to actually legalize it, not fake legalize it like in Illinois, not fake legalize it like in all these states that have medical or recreational even. That's fake legalization to me.
Right.
The only way to really, really legalize it is to donate more money to politicians than the other fucking motherfuckers. So,
That's right.
okay, are they donating fucking $1 million? We need to donate $10 million to that fucking rep in that state. They're fucking donating $100 million to the fucking federal government to do this Schedule 3 bullshit for weed.
Right.
All right, we need to do $1 billion fucking dollars. But how are we going to get the money? By the viewer watching this right now and clicking the link down below and donating money to the American Healthy Alternatives Association. And that's the only fucking way. We got to crowdsource this shit. Because
Right.
how is a bunch of small business owners going to lobby the government and donate more money than the corporate motherfuckers when the corporations already have millions and billions of dollars in sales in their limited markets where they're acquiring all the market share? Like, no,
Right.
sorry, guys. If you smoke weed and it's legal in your state, that's not good enough. You need to do more. You should feel
Right.
guilty if you're not paying attention to this shit because this is your fucking freedom being taken away right fucking down in front of your own eyes. So click
That's
the
what it
link
comes
down
down to.
below right now.
Click the link, please. Any and every single dollar counts. And, like you said, man, it really comes down to money controls lobbyists, lobbyists control the laws. It's that simple. Don't believe me?
Yep.
Look at the NRA. We've had more mass shootings this year than we've had days. And they haven't even made the first step for any kind of gun control. And think about cannabis to date has killed 0 people. I think they're actually trying to say one kid ingested a lot of edibles like a couple months back and ultimately overdosed and died. But I think it was complications from, and his mom never took him to get any kind of medical care. But there's, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty knowledgeable in this industry, not one person has directly died from the use of cannabis. But I was reading that statistic the other day: 120 people die a year from taking a selfie with their phone. 120
What?
people a year die from taking a selfie. So yeah, you're right, man. Give it to the link below. Get involved, even if you don't have money. Get involved. Reach out to your representatives, your senators, your town council people, whatever. We want full legalization. And full legalization means just that. There's no special, huge, high price permit and the black market was just fine for 100 years and no issues, and now the government's got involved, and you're hearing all these, contaminated and black market this and uh, it's just a mess. It's been a mess since they've been involved. Even in legalized states, has been legalized the longest, like California. Their industry is literally imploding. So yeah, Clean Below,
Insane.
American Healthy Alternatives Association, JD McCormick, get involved. We got to get money. That's what it comes down to. I hate to say it, and nobody's going to do it for us. We have to get money. We
Mm-hmm.
have to get out there, and what that money does is help gives people like myself and like JD and like Chris. It gives us the platform. It gives us a voice. It allows us money to travel to these other states to be part of these hearings, part of this legislation process, so we can be a voice. I used to think, somebody's handling it here in North Carolina, up in Raleigh,
Nope.
and I got
Nope.
up there and looked around and realized it's like two or three of us, and those two or three don't even exist now because they were getting paid by hemp and cannabis companies that have since gone out of business in North Carolina because of the issues we've had in the industry, where there was no regulation, so it was flooded in the beginning, and we couldn't give
Mm-hmm.
the stuff away. And then, through being creative Americans, they came up with the Delta 8 process to create Delta 8 from CBD, and
Right.
now we're even seeing that market die out to the hemp-derived Delta 9 program. So it's you got to be completely malleable. There's nobody out here to help us. By the way, no banks are going to give us money. There's no banks out there that offer funds because we can't. So that's a whole nother story. So yeah, we need people like
Yeah.
Chris, people like me, people like JD, people like you to give some money and let your voice be heard. Sign up with the American Healthy Alternatives Association, and we're fighting this in South Carolina. And what we're hoping is, we know we're going to win this because we didn't do anything that's federally illegal. We shipped
Right.
a federally legal product through the U.S. Postal Service, which is a federally legal entity that says we can federally legally ship hemp in all
It's on their
50.
website.
It's on their website. The USDA says as long as it passed testing 30 days prior to harvest, it is in compliance from then on, even if it goes hot after the fact. So it's time to educate law enforcement locally and on a larger scale. It's time to comfortably define our rules and ultimately get the hell out of our way. Let us do what we do in this industry. Let us thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Let us create a natural, healthy alternative to pharmaceutical drugs, to alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
to tobacco, and let us fucking live. How many people out here getting high trying to go kill someone or anything violent? The only thing I want to kill when I'm high is a bag of chips. So you know, there is side effects. Your boy's not small. I'm working on it. I'm losing a little bit of weight.
Same here, man. I got some
You
man
know,
boobs going myself.
hey, that's all right,
Uh,
man. It's all
you
love,
look pretty big and strong, though. I feel like you'd fuck up a motherfucker if you needed to.
man. I'm a lover from way back. I appreciate
I'm
it.
not trying to say you're like a
No,
cold-blooded killer or anything.
no,
I'm just
no. Those days are behind me. I try. I used to put myself in situations where I had to prove that, but I've learned to protect my energy and protect my
hmm
space,
That's good.
and just don't fuck with people that don't belong. And
hmm
it since I've even posted a GoFundMe and things since this has happened, and man, people talk shit. It gets back to you, people in our circle and everything,
hmm
and the amount of hate that people come to you you're automatically wrong. You've automatically
mm
done something wrong. You've automatically done something illegal, and then here comes you knew what you were getting into when you were getting in this business, and these are the
It's
same
about the
people that
principle,
are
motherfucker.
right. It's the same people that are snorting lines and drinking a beer or a liquor drink as they're telling me what we're doing is fucked up or that's what you get kind of feeling. You know what I mean? So
hmm
it's it's ignorance, man. And even people in the industry, it's crazy how they still like will lie to their spouse about it, their use or their kids or whatever. And my kids, they're running around here somewhere. They know exactly what daddy does and what he represents. My
hmm
oldest went to school last week and told her PE teacher that the cops are trying to make CBD illegal. So
That's
she's
awesome.
5. She's 5, dude, and she gets it, But
Well, she
I
knows
like
daddy's a fucking hero, fucking putting the good word out. You know what I'm saying? She's
thank you,
proud of
man.
you. So it's like,
We're all
that's
doing
dope.
God's work.
It's like that higher
It is.
purpose.
Right, and that's it's funny you talk about that. Law enforcement in South Carolina told one of my attorneys that we were too loud and flamboyant on our social media, And that's one of the reasons that I think we were targeted. And I'm like, what am I supposed to not be proud of my company or what we do? Like, what am I supposed to sit there quietly and just, you know,
Our
it's
corporate sponsors are displeased with your
right,
actions, plebeian. Go
right,
back to your low status fucking life
right.
and don't
Yeah.
thrive.
They're
Fuck
like,
you.
you almost made some money. You almost made something yourself. We're going to fix that for you. No problem. But man,
Jesus fucking
we,
Christ.
it takes people like you and I, man. We got to do the educating. We got to spread the word to the masses. This product does nothing but help people, man. I'm sure you got
Yeah.
stories too. I got thousands emails and in person, verbally, testimonials out the ass of not like, hey man, thanks, I sleep now. I get those too,
Yeah.
but it's like this has changed my life. We got one lady came in our store the first week we were open. She was on 14 medications. She's on none.
Jesus.
Another lady, her son was nonverbal autistic. 4 years she never heard his voice. She took CBD oil. Day one of taking CBD oil, the kids started talking. I mean, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Why
Yeah.
this plan has done nothing but help people. It's been here way before we've been here.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we found some way to weaponize it and criminalize it just to hold down the masses.
It's not even a right. It's not a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. And of course, like the trend you're seeing, if you want to generalize it, is Republicans want to keep it illegal and lock you up if you have it, and then the Democrats want to make a monopoly type system where only the corporate companies win. But
Right.
really, it doesn't matter. The people that actually, at the end of the day, use the weed and want to sell the weed don't give a shit about any of that shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like we just want to use it. You know what I
I
mean?
want
Like
to use
I
the weed.
have
How cheap can
customers
I
that
get it?
went on our website. They reached out. I've had police chiefs that bought weed off my website legally, and they're like, "Yo, I really like fuck with what you're doing. Like, I'd love to give you a video testimonial. Too bad I didn't. I probably lost his email in the customer service and said, "Thank you. I'll get back to you." And I've had
Right.
like pastors of churches being like, "I really like what you're doing." It's like pastors, police chiefs will
Right.
even smoke the weed. It's not a Republican thing. It's not a Democrat thing. It's everyone likes it,
But not
right?
one of them will say so publicly. Not one of them. And I go through the same thing. I got active law enforcement, active military, the same thing. And face to face, they're thanking me, congratulating me. But they, and I said, hey, well, why don't we go in and let me talk to your superior, or can I use your testimony? Oh no, I can't let anybody know about this. It's like, but I don't blame them. They get, even the DA in Charlotte here, he told me, he was like, I don't even prosecute for marijuana anymore. But he's like, I'm not going to come out publicly and say that because I don't want to get pigeonholed as
Well, we
the
better pay him enough so he can say that. I'm trying to pay
right,
every
right,
fucking judge, police,
right,
motherfucker, so they have enough money in their pocket that they can say, yeah, this hemp is legal. Yeah, it's
right,
for the people, man. We're not being paid by the corporate people. We're being supported by the people to let people smoke the shit that everyone wants to smoke. And I can guarantee you those cops, those prosecutors have tried weed and they either like it or they're fine with it.
right.
If those people have had a fucking drink of whiskey or scotch or some shit, they're
Oh,
fucking
100%.
cool with weed.
Oh, 100%. And then here's what's even more fucked up. Some of the officers that came in our store and raided the store, I hate to use that word. The officers that came in our store and stole our product was walking around basically going product to product. And my staff could overhear them. And they were
Mm-hmm.
going, damn, this looks good. Or I wonder what this is. And like a couple of them were like, see, it says cannabis. It's definitely illegal. You know what I mean? Or saying,
Oh damn,
it
this shit
says
smells
herb
fire.
on it.
Let me test it out in the fucking evidence room.
Right. Well, that's on the search warrant that they came after my general manager for. That's what they said. They said she described the product as fire, which is street slang for marijuana.
What?
I'm like, your clothes can be fire, your food can be fire, fire can be fire. Like, are you kidding me? That's how out of touch I believe most of them are with this whole thing. Like, no, we didn't say marijuana. We said fire. We got a lot of fire ass products. Some of them don't even have any psychoactive effects. So
That's
pretty
ridiculous.
wild.
That's like, oh bro, this water is fire. Oh, you're under investigation for organized crime under the RICO Act. We got your ass, bitch. You're selling
Right,
marijuana. It's like, what the
right.
fuck? I can't say anything is
Seriously,
fire. I can't say this weed is fire in my sales copy, and I'm automatically fucking targeted for RICO and organized crime.
right.
Ridiculous.
It's a fucking mess. Which is federally legal. So,
Federally legal products.
but this has been dope, man. I definitely want to do another couple follow up podcasts. So if I ever find myself up in Illinois, we'll have to come meet up for sure. And I welcome
I'm
you
totally down to do it in person, bro. That sounds fun as hell.
for sure, bro. And you ever through Charlotte, I don't know what would bring you here, but we got you covered. I live in a beautiful park just north of Charlotte, up here on the lake. So I'd love
Sweet.
to have you up sometime. But yeah, how can everybody find you and join your cause, your support?
You can follow my YouTube channel. Simply type in Christopher Baer. I also have a brand, THC Extract, and I'm a co-owner of Candy Boy. You can Google that. We sell THCA flower, Delta 9 gummies, this, that, and the other, you name it. It's the real deal. We don't sell any CBD whatsoever. So it's all real THC products that are federally legal. It's identical to the stuff at the dispensary, but it's federally legal, just like Mike sells at his store and on his website. But yeah, we're
We'll
just
have to
trying
do
to
a little
keep.
product exchange too, man. I'd love to do that too
Let's
through
do
the
it, man.
USPS, through the U.S. Postal Service. Go ahead
That's
and
right. That's right.
but yeah,
Cool,
man.
man.
Same thing with me. You can find us. I'm on Instagram as the Cannabis King South, Cannabis King South, all one word. You can follow Les B Blunt at lesbblunt.org. You can find us on YouTube at Les B Blunt. My sponsors, Crown Town Cannabis, which I'm co-owner of, also the Plug Distribution, all based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'll go ahead and do a little name drop. The name of our resort coming up is going to be called Cannaland. And we're actually working on the trademark for that right now. But Cannaland, man, and it's going to be like nothing you ever seen. But it's been an awesome interview, man. I love the energy. I love everything you're doing for the plant. And we got to keep collaborating on this, man. We got to meet up and let our voices be heard and get others to join us.
Hey, man, let's do it. Invite me to the launch of the cannabis theme park or what? I'm sorry,
Got
I'm
it.
probably butchering it, but I'll fucking
Yeah.
show up, do a
Nah,
little
you're good,
vlog.
bro.
Let's do a podcast.
I'll shoot you over some images and stuff of it. But yeah, like I said,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
just now starting to talk about it publicly. We're about to break ground any day now, like literally, finally. So, but man, for real, thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for your voice. Thanks for your time to do this on a Saturday night, man. I can't wait to do some more collaboration. And again, one last time for everybody out there, the American Healthy Alternatives Association. And we're going to have the link below. Please get involved. Click link, give some money, give your time, give your name. JD McCormick is kicking ass out here.
Making
Anything
weed
else?
legal everywhere.
Making weed legal. Anything else you want to add for the people, Chris?
That's it, man. It was a fun podcast. So I guess we'll
Definitely
talk
was.
soon and, keep it moving, keep it grooving, man.
All right. And I always like to sign off as peace, love, and cannabis. Free the weed, free the plant for everybody. Thanks, Chris. I'm going to log off here. See you in a sec.
Yes, sir. Peace out, man.
Yeah.